So, have you ever stopped to wonder how authorities could possibly find one specific phone in a city packed with millions of them? Well, today we're going to pull back the curtain on a really powerful and, yeah, pretty controversial piece of surveillance tech designed to do exactly that. We're talking about the IMSI catcher.
I mean, think about it. This is the central problem, right? In any busy area, you've got thousands of phones all chatting with cell towers at once. It's a sea of digital noise. So, how do you cut through all of that to find the one signal you're looking for? Well, that is precisely the problem IMC catchers were built to solve.
So, here's what we're going to cover. We'll start with what an IMSI catcher actually is, and then get into the really clever part: how it works by pretending to be a cell tower. We'll get a close-up look at a system you might find in a vehicle, explore some of its surprisingly advanced features, and finally touch on its official uses in law enforcement.
All right, let's start square one. To really get what the catcher part is all about, you first have to understand the IMSI.
You see, every single SIM card in your phone has this unique 15-digit number. It's called an IMSI, which stands for International Mobile Subscriber Identity. The best way to think about it is like your phone's unique fingerprint on the mobile network. It's not your phone number. It's something way more fundamental that your phone uses to identify itself to a tower. And that right there brings us to the catcher. At its most basic level, an IMSI catcher is just a device designed to cast a wide net and scoop up the unique IMSI from every phone that happens to be nearby. It's basically doing a digital roll call for all the phones in the area. So you're probably asking, how does it actually do that? This is where it gets really clever. It's not about hacking your phone in the traditional sense. It's about tricking it. Okay, it's basically a three-step process. First, the IMSC catcher starts broadcasting a signal that's way stronger than any of the real cell towers in the area. Now, your phone is programmed to always connect to the strongest signal available. It thinks it's getting better service, so it drops its connection to the real tower and hooks up with the IMSC instead. And in that tiny moment of connection, that little digital handshake, the catcher grabs your phone's unique IMSI. Simple as that. Now, once it has all these IMC numbers, the system starts to get smart. The operator can use what's called a whitelist for all the phones they don't care about, which just lets them pass through and connect back to their normal network. You'd never even know what happened. But for any phone on the blacklist, the target devices, the system can keep them connected, track their location, and maybe even do a whole lot more. To really make this sink in, let's look at a super common setup: a system mounted inside a vehicle. This is a perfect example of how this technology is actually used out in the world. So this right here is the brain of the whole operation. The main hardware is a pretty powerful piece of equipment, and it's usually hidden away somewhere discreet, like in the trunk of a car. This box has all the processing power it needs to act like a cell tower and handle data from potentially thousands of phones at once. Of course, you can't just drive around with a giant cell tower antenna on your car, right? That'd be a bit of a giveaway. So to keep things covert, the antennas are brilliantly disguised. They can be hidden inside what looks like a normal rooftop cargo box, or even designed to look exactly like one of those little shark fin antennas you see on almost every car these days. It lets the whole system just blend in. And this is what the person running the system sees. They're usually on a laptop, interacting with a software platform. This dashboard lets them see all the IMSI numbers being collected in real time, manage those whitelists and blacklists we just talked about, and even track the signal strength of a target phone to zero in on its exact location. But here's the thing. Modern systems can do so much more than just grab an ID number. The capabilities have evolved and become way more advanced. Yeah, according to the source material, these things are a full-blown surveillance suite. We're talking intercepting voice calls and text messages, analyzing data traffic, and even jamming all communications in an area, just creating a total mobile dead zone on command. But maybe the most alarming feature listed is something called Trojan implantation. That's just a fancy way of saying the device could potentially be used to plant malware directly onto a target's phone, basically turning their own device against them. So, with all of these incredible and kind of scary capabilities, what's the official reason for having this tech? Let's look at the law enforcement applications, at least as they're described by the manufacturer. Well, the documentation is pretty direct about it. The manufacturer says the device provides, and I'm quoting here, efficient technical means for criminal investigation, public order maintenance, evidence collection, anti-terrorism, and stability preservation. So it's very clearly marketed as a tool for security and intelligence agencies. To put it another way, the whole point of this technology is to give those agencies a tactical edge.
By being able to quickly find and identify specific phones, it gives them what the documents call effective data support for their operations, whether that's hunting for a suspect or keeping tabs on a high-risk location.
And all of this leaves us with one final, really important question. There is no doubt this is a powerful tool for security, but the way it works, by design, is to sweep up the data from every phone in an area, innocent or not, just to find one target. And that raises some pretty fundamental questions about our privacy. Where exactly do we draw that line between security and surveillance? It's definitely something to think about.